756 candidates, 0.24%, again, way less than 1%, scored 320 and above, with 7,658 falling between 300 and 319. JAM also reported over 71,000 absentees alongside widespread malpractice and technical issues at CBT centers. The poor results, of course, sparked national concerns, with experts blaming weak infrastructure, economic hardship, and declining interest in academics. Many are calling for urgent educational reforms and a review of the current testing model. Well, amongst those who criticized or spoke against this is the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last election, Mr. Peter Obi. He said the poor performance in the recently released UTME result reflects Nigeria's deteriorating education system. In a statement shared via his social media handle, Mr. Obi described the results as symptomatic of deep-rooted issues in the nation's education sector. But this is sad. However you want to look at it, about 75% or close to 80% of candidates failed. That's not good. That is not good at all. Now, I took JAM more than once, right? And, well, first one was not as good as it should have been. Second one was better. I think the third got me admission, or was it the second? Right? But I also know that there was a healthy dose ratio of people who passed. So the failure was kind of a personal problem. But with this one, I'm not quite sure who to blame. My guest is Dr. Isaac Uwadiunor. He's an education policy expert and a public affairs analyst. And he joins me via the phone. Thank you, Dr. Uwadiunor, for making the time.
Thank you, Samara Kuchinedu. Good afternoon, Rivers. Good evening, Rivers people. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, indeed. My pleasure. So straight to business, sir. Who exactly do we blame for this? Is it the students, the parents, the schools, or the government?
Well, I wouldn't have loved to say we're blaming anybody. But if you ask me, we blame the society.
Wow.
And the society is a combination of the school, which is an institution, the students per se, the parents, in fact, everything, the economy, everything put together, they are responsible. The society is responsible for the poor performance of students, in external examination like JAM.
Okay. Now, Doctor, you are still in the education sector, and there's a common narrative that if many students fail, it is the teacher's fault. If many students pass and few fail, it is the student's fault. So in this case, many students failed. So does a large part of the blame go to the schools and the teachers?
Let's not even look at the issue of the teacher and the student. The environment, the environment is actually the problem. You understand? The environment is the problem. Why do I say it's the environment? First and foremost, the operating environment for schools in Nigeria is harsh. Sam, very harsh indeed. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two is that students don't read. I heard you in your intro when you said that you wrote JAM twice.
Yes.
And in those days that we wrote JAM, in our days, we took it as if it was the only enterprise. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But nowadays, when students are preparing for external examination, they sleep from 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 the next day. And when you ask them, say, don't worry, we'll go to private university. And parents are not helping issues. They say, okay, don't worry, you don't even need to kill yourself. If you are, how many people are actually attending federal university now? How many federal universities are competitive? I take you to a private university, the cutoff point is 120 over 400. And they end up graduating from such university with a first class. And the society is not asking questions. That's why we begin to talk of measurement and evaluation in education. If you enter university with a score of 120 over 400 and you're coming out with a first class, nobody is asking questions. Does it really make sense?
Well, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, now we have teachers who are in school. Even though TRCN, which is the governing body for licensing of teachers and others, they are all operational in Nigeria. Let's ask the question, how many qualified teachers do we have? What is the ratio of qualified teachers who are certified to teach and the ratio of auxiliary teachers who are there? That's number one. And then when it comes to government recruitment, government don't recruit, in most cases, those who are qualified. They recruit auxiliary teachers and tell them that they will go on the job. And you remember that you are running a curriculum.
Yeah.
What is a course of action? So when you put all these things together, like I told you in my intro, I said the society is to be blamed. Whether you lay the blame on the teacher or you lay the blame on the students, the issue is that there's a fundamental problem in the society.
Okay, now,
That's
Doctor,
exactly,
I remember.
of how to address.
Yeah, I remember taking JAM, WAEC, of course, and all those national exams, and I'm sure it was like that in your case because you said it earlier. Usually,
Yes.
it is a project, even beyond what the student does on their own as regards preparation. The school is programmed. You know, we used to have JAM lesson then. Then schools used to organize classes, and there were preparations school-wide for the exams.
JAM preparation
Exactly.
organized by the school.
Yes, organized by school. You know, it was something to look forward to. There was that sense of urgency with parents, with teachers, with schools, and with the students. I'm not quite sure what the situation is now. Do schools still take these exams as urgently as they did decades before?
Sam, let me tell you, only very few schools do that. And these schools that do this are basically elite schools, I must tell you. Most government schools don't organize JAM classes. What they organize is extension classes to make up for topics not taught before the examination. And most times, because of the nature of these schools, they will teach the children into the examination hall 2 days of the examination. The scheme has not been covered. The entire curriculum has not been covered. The children just stumble into the examination hall, and when they get into the examination hall, because there was no revision exercise, the children didn't have opportunity to go through past questions, at least familiarize themselves with how examination questions are organized, are set. What you now see is that you see a situation where they will now stumble in, maybe out of sheer luck, or perhaps their parents are able to acquire private lesson teachers for them. You just see them scaling the exam. So it is only the elite school, and I don't want to mention any of them. They make JAM preparation a project. They start by first term in the name of extension classes. They will use that first term to complete their scheme, and by the second term, JAM usually holds between April and May.
Yeah.
Okay, every year. So from January to April, they would have used 13 solid weeks to prepare the children, and they are very exorbitant. Sometimes you will pay as much as 80,000 naira for that. When you ask them, they tell you how much is ILTS, how much is SAT. So don't you know that JAM is in the class of that? So most parents who cannot feed well cannot afford to send their children to such expensive lessons.
Yeah.
And when they send their children to such expensive lessons, how are you sure that the teachers are going to teach if they are not elite too? So these are the issues associated with JAM preparation, especially for the children of the poor. Because if you look at it, I've not seen the result now, but I'm sure by the time they publish the individual result, you will see that nobody in government school will score the highest grade as far as the exam is concerned. You may either trace them to a church school or perhaps a renowned private school that is known for one thing or the other. That's exactly the preparation. That's the issue.
Yeah, I still remember extension classes as you brought it up. It was heavy. Everyone goes home, but our class does not go anywhere because it was that serious. Okay, now a recurring decimal with the UTME for a couple of years have been students reporting technical issues as regards the computer-based testing centers. We've had a lot of students, and this time I'm glad that JAM admitted that there were technical issues too. So,
yeah.
Are we better off with computer-based testing? You know, with the problems that are technical by nature and the students that could affect. Are there ways that we can solve this problem? Could there be maybe a reconsideration that some students, take the regular ones if the computers are disturbing them? How do we tackle this particular issue?
Sam, let me be very fair to you. The best thing that has happened to examination is CBT, is computer-based test. Because it saves a lot of stress, number one. It gives you, peace of mind. It also introduces you to what is trendy all over the world. Now let's measure JAM, SAT, and TOEFL. They are all computer-based exams. But the problem we have in this part of the world is that we have very poor infrastructure. Now, 2/3 of the CBT centers we have in Nigeria are privately owned. And just imagine somebody like I once worked in a school where the man had a CBT center with over 1,000 systems. The man had 2 generators set, but they can't even serve the purpose because they're running diesel. Not only that they are running diesel, you cannot rely on NEPA or what you call PSED for you to run a computer-based test. Do you understand? There must be a backup.
Yeah.
And not everybody can afford to do that. And with the growing trend of energy crisis in this part of the world, you are not sure. So these technical issues will continue to reoccur. It will continue to reoccur until we're able to tell ourselves the truth. Okay, if we say solar, how many people can afford, or who owns CBT center? How many of them can actually go for solar energy, which is even common among us? If you're talking of energy, a liter of diesel is worth 1,250. Do you know? On the average, 1,300. So I am running the generating set for 2 good weeks consistently from morning in 6 to 6. Okay, you are running that. Of course, the chances of breakdown is there. And then come to think of it, how many systems are actually upgraded on monthly basis in order for them to be able to accommodate, the pressure of CBT exam? These are all areas where the technical issues come from, and we are not looking at that. All we just know is that somebody tells you that I have a CBT center, the person registers with JAM, and JAM is then saying, okay, we have gone to do the verification, let the brown envelope has passed through somebody's hand. By the end of the day, they say the center is good, and he has camera, he has this, he has that, but children will be writing exam, midway into the examination, maybe you are in question number 38, the light goes off. When they come back, they tell you that they are giving you additional 10 minutes. What will the 10 minutes do for you to be able to complete the answer? That is the problem.
Okay, so JAM needs to do more, obviously, in verifying these centers.
Indeed.
Okay, now to be fair to the students, is it possible that the examination has gotten more difficult with time? I remember how hard it was for me to pass JAM. And, eventually I did and gained admission. But is it possible that what these kids are facing today is more difficult than what we faced and those before us? Could there be a possibility?
Let me be very fair to you. The exam is even simpler now compared to our days.
Simpler?
Simpler indeed. I'm a teacher.
Okay.
Yes. And I must tell you that I ran a center where a child scored 366 in the mock.
Wow.
And another one scored 352 in the mock. We are just waiting for the final result, maybe before we even blew the trumpet. To be very fair to you. Now, if you are prepared for this exam, you will discover that JAM has no new question. I knew when I wrote JAM from 1987 to date, there are backup questions. If you follow it conscientiously, topic by topic, line by line, year by year, you will just discover that, let me be very, very fair, that 60% of the questions you are asked in JAM are recycled past questions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Unlike in our days, when we will carry books and we'll be looking for the questions. Now, they have questions and answers. They have more opportunity now, to do a lot for themselves. And in doing so, what exactly are we looking at? They go through revision classes just for one topic. You have an average of 25 past questions that you can answer. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
So, but in our days, it was not like that.
It wasn't too.
It wasn't like that. We have to even source the question, and because it's a paper exam, it's not computer-based test, we are carrying paper around. But now the exam has been simplified. They have the checkpoint, they have the Presso 50, they have all this. Parents don't buy. They buy only 5 years. They give to their children. After revising for these 5 years, they will come back and tell you they are in the exam. These are the people who score between 180 and 200. But just look at it. Those who do it conscientiously and go back, maybe from 2013 till date, certainly if you enter the hall, it will look as if you are doing revision. That's the way the JAM exam is.
Okay, we have a break coming up. After that, we talk solutions, because the idea behind these conversations is to talk for development. So, Doctor, please stay with us. After the break, we wrap up this conversation.
It's okay.
Oh my, I have lost the call with Dr. Uwadiunor. I thought he was still with me. Well, I'm going to try to reconnect with him, but a lot was said with the time that we had as to who was to blame, how we got here, the problems with the CBT centers, and many of the issues raised. But just for the purpose of context, total candidates who registered 1.95 million, total who sat for the exam 1.88 million, because about 71,000 were absent, and this was thanks to many reasons, from our practice to technical issues and all things in between. Now, over 1.5 million candidates scored below 200, and that's like half of 400, which is supposed to be passed. So over 1.5 million candidates failed. Only 12,414 candidates, which is less than 1%, scored above 300 and above, and majority fell within the 140 to 199 score range. That's where a lot of people were. Multiple malpractice cases, reports of technical issues. These are some of the problems that plagued the exams. So I'm asking questions. What do you make of this mass failure for the 2025 UTME? It's truly sad because, I'm just getting nostalgic. I know what JAM used to be for us growing up. I know how it was a do or die. I know how the possibility of failing JAM could get you depressed as a student. I know how many times I took JAM. My first score was, if I still remember, I think 169, and I felt inadequate. I felt like a failure. It was my own parents that were checking. They said, don't worry. I said, no, I want to enter bush. I didn't go that far, but I was really down, I remember. And the second one, my goodness, I finished JAM. Oh, my. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, Sam.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to the guests.
Go ahead.
My name is Chief Comrade Iron Brace.
All right.
Yes, Sam, I will attribute it to societal failure. Yes, the government as entirely has failed the citizenry. And also, the academians have also failed the society. Now, if you look at the old CBT center we have in this country, which of them that is functioning to optimal capacity, that you will encourage a child that you're going out for your post-UMPE, that you're going to get it right. A child will be in front of the computer, and computer will automatically shut down. And look at the psychological trauma it will give to that child at that center. And at the end of the day, you come to tell me that half of the students could not make it. If half of the students could not make it, this JAM started it for UMPE, which are the CBT center JAM are set up in our 36 states. So you will agree with me that it's a societal failure because it's a country where snakes, python, swallow money, and that money could not be from it
really?
To build a CBT center in this country.
Okay.
Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. You really had to bring that up. Gospel calls from HA. Hello, Gospel. Good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chinedu.
Good evening.
Crying that many people do not perform well in the JAM.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you, if you do expose in most of the secondary schools, the public schools, you find out that they don't have teachers in most of the subjects, even the computer. How do you think they will do well? It's not a magic. You cannot sow cocoyam and reap cassava. That is what we are sowing, and that is what we are reaping. Our students are not well equipped from primary to secondary, more especially at public schools. That's the problem. How can they perform well? Let me tell you, those who did maybe who got about 300 or 290, they are coming from the private schools, renowned private schools that are well prepared. They prepare their students for those exams. But for public schools, they just take it as just like that, and that is the result. Let me tell you, the computers we are running now and are shutting down network and this, how are they going to attribute it to students? What of the fault of the computers? If they shut down for a student and they say it's 1 hour and the student has not done anything, the result will just come. There are a lot of things. They have to review a lot of things. That's when they did a lot of things, not only the society, but the people, the managers. If a student had been shortchanged, maybe he has a 3 hours, 1 hour, but out of the 3 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes have been short because of data. You're supposed to give him another 30 minutes. Before you give the results, you say it's automatic and 1 hour is up, go. And you just judge him on the ones he has done. Not even considering that one that a computer change that person. That's the reason. So we are not doing well. We are not managing things well in this part of our world, this country, Nigeria. Everything is haphazard, and the result is the other. And
all right.
That is how we are doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gospel. Gospel, I'll be speaking to you shortly, but I need to wrap up with Dr. Uwadiunor. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, conclusively, what must we do to solve this problem so we don't have the same issue next year?
The solution is dead in the problem.
Okay.
So to start with, our government must do more than what they are doing currently in order for us to have as we applaud the government for giving us student loans, but it will not do the job.
Okay.
That's number one. The drive education is
okay, doctor, we have issues with the reception. I sincerely apologize. I would have to let you go because I literally could not hear you. But thank you, Dr. Uwadiunor, for joining us and giving us your resource. God's will from Port Harcourt.
Yeah, good afternoon. Please, confirm you can hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, for me, while I believe that we have the student dimension to it, that's the students themselves.
Okay.
We have the teachers and all that. My biggest maybe actor here that I would say is responsible is the institution that mans education in Nigeria. So I'm looking at governance.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it from two angles. You can agree with me that the greater percentage of these people who write this thing are from public schools. Of course, because that's where we have a large number of middle class, lower class people where they're able to send their children to school.
True.
Go through our government schools, and you can agree with me really what is going on there. The level of education, the quality of supervision in terms of teaching of students, and all of that is poor. Then the second layer is the JAMB as an institution itself. I ask myself this question. Do they have a budget for JAMB annually? I remember my son went for JAMB, the mock exams in a center. The kind of experience he came back with, the mock, not this time. And he had close to 300 actually. So he was even given a scholarship by his school when they saw his result. But the experience he had in that mock center made me to look for another CBT center.
What happened?
Yes, we have to. The experience there, it was around 2 or thereabout. In the middle of the mock exam, he said the computer just went off. He said they were sitting down. After sitting for a long time, they were told that they cannot power it up again and it should go. I'm telling you this. And I was like, what if it's a real jam? God forbid, though, this will not happen because now you have CBT centers. Do you do real check of their system? And even if you do you have a budget to support them in terms of infrastructure? What is the networking system at work? You can have things like Starlink and all of that temporarily that you might install in all CBTs. How much does it take if you look at how much you spend in other frivolities as a country? Annual budget that you use. So when I look at these two things, I can bet you out of the 75 that got less than that, who knows, maybe more than half of them or close to half of them was because of various CBT center issues.
I agree.
And the other one could be because of issues around the kind of school where they were going to prepare for this exam.
All right. Thank you very much, Goswill. I believe that the issues of technical problems have been underreported. Personal opinion, and I hope I'm wrong, right? There are students every year, candidates, who always complain about technical problems. And so it raises questions about how thorough the checks are of the CBT centers. That's if those checks even happen. I really am hoping that the exam body can do better for the purpose of the students, leaders of tomorrow, as they are called. Jimmy says, I think JAM gets easier each year. I remember when I took the exam, I noticed the earlier the past question, the harder the exam. So if the failure rate is this bad and my theory is correct, then we are in serious soup. It reminds me of how Chinese and South Korean students prepare for the toughest exams to enter into universities, and it saddens me. In my opinion, while JAM has its issues, our students are getting worse, and this should be studied. Thank you, Jimmy. Sam, how do they expect excellent results when they fix exam at odd times? These kids are small and exams are fixed for 6:30 a.m., very far from their homes, sometimes outside the state, not putting into consideration the security situation all over. Do we think in this country at all? This wasn't the trend during our time. We need to wake up, Dafe says. Yes, the timing of the exams have also been a cause for concern. We have questions, comments on Facebook. Ify says, good evening, I will blame students because boyfriend and girlfriend... Really? You had to bring that. Because boyfriend and girlfriend have blocked their brain so much. God help this generation. Oh, well, I'm not making excuses, but students have always indulged in boyfriend and girlfriend things, But yes, it might seem to be worse now. Alfred says, internet fraud influence. Alfred Ubari. Emmanuel says, all of the above. Okbaraji Wisdom says it's not something new, just trends. And York's Ban says, blame no one but the candidates themselves. TikTok, content creation, live streaming, online businesses and trading have taken the place of education in the life of today's children and youths. Go to university, they don't attend classes and drive the most expensive cars on campus. Coding and Yahoo have taken over our students who feel that they make money without going to school. I mean, I get the point you're making, but some of the things you've mentioned here are actually skills, right? Online businesses, trading, and all of that. Students still go to school to learn those. So I don't want to allow or agree that should stand in the way of a student's success. But that's what it is. I'm hoping that next year we have better figures.